Hi, I'm Zed.
Hi, I'm P.
Welcome to the Not Your Typical Sister podcast. We're two brown girls trying to open the conversation and share our experiences on taboo subjects.
We're not experts or doctors, so we recommend speaking to a professional if you need help or advice. So grab a cuppa, sit back and enjoy the podcast. Hey everyone.
Hi, welcome to the Not Your Typical Sister podcast. And today we will be talking about stupid Desi advice.
Can you just explain for our listeners what you mean by stupid Desi advice? And I know we've had conversations about this, all these little things that people say to us, and we're just like, what the hell? I don't know if I could say hell, but okay, what the? If you want to just explain a little bit about it.
Okay, so sometimes you're just given stupid advice in general, but I think Desi advice just takes it to another level, because growing up, and especially after I had Xavier, I was given the most stupidest advice I've ever heard in my entire life. And I can't believe people actually say this with a straight face sometimes.
Yeah, I think as well, like, people think that they're genuinely being helpful when they give you this advice as well. And it's on so many topics, like you say, about having a baby and just anything and everything. They think that they're giving you the most helpful advice in the world, and you're sitting there so puzzled after they say what they're going to say. So yeah, you could give us an example maybe to help the listeners. I'm sure they've obviously experienced this before as well.
Yeah, I mean, okay, one example is my husband's Pakistani and I'm half Pakistani. So stereotypically, or maybe it's a Pakistani trait, but our noses tend to be quite big, right? So when Xavier was born, Xavier has the exact same nose of his dad, which is quite a large nose. But I was, as you well know, but I was getting advice about altering his nose by basically pinching the bridge of his nose in. So pinching a newborn baby's nose in to make it slimmer.
Oh my God.
And I was like, when the person told me this, and obviously this is an intimate family member, and they're saying, oh yeah, pinch the nose and keep pinching it so it goes in. And I'm thinking, so you want me to hurt the baby to change their feature? And I didn't quite understand what the problem was. I mean, we all have features we're not hugely happy about, but that's part of the way we are. No one's perfect. And I just thought it was really, I thought it was almost cruel.
And what if Xavier loves his nose when he grows up? Who is that person to kind of say that? Do you know what I'm trying to say? That is so horrible, but I can't even say I'm surprised, because I've heard things like that before. I've heard things like, don't take the baby out in the sun because they're going to get dark. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, really? Or even like us as adults, don't go outside in the sun because your skin's gonna get dark and you're not gonna be beautiful because it's dark. I mean, what kind of stupidity is that, really?
Yeah, exactly. And another thing was, don't drink tea or coffee because it changes your complexion, it makes you darker. And especially when you're pregnant, obviously we're not supposed to have caffeine anyway, but then it makes the baby darker as well. And you think, so all the Western people who've got really fair complexions, they don't drink tea or coffee in their life, because then they wouldn't need to go to tanning places, right? If they drank coffee, if that was the solution to make yourself darker, why would anyone get tanned? It just doesn't make sense. It's like so bizarre. Like, okay, I understand you are what you eat, but sometimes people take it to the extreme that you literally are what you eat.
I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it, when you think about it? There's no logic there whatsoever. Like, how possibly under the sun, if you think about how science works, how is tea possibly going to make your skin darker or the baby's skin darker? Seriously.
That's like saying if you had like a green juice, like a smoothie or something, like, with the kale and everything in there, a healthy juice, your baby's going to turn out looking like Shrek. It doesn't make sense.
Can you imagine, though, if your kid actually came out green? Like, really? Goodness. What would they say to you then?
That would be good. But you know what? When the baby actually comes out, they don't have a normal skin color, so they actually look blue.
Yeah. And
I didn't know that. So when Xavier came out, I was like, what's wrong with him? Why is he bluey purple? And then obviously then they explained that, hold on, his blood hasn't gone through his body and everything, and he's going to go back to normal skin color.
Were you worried that you ate too many blueberries then?
He loves blueberries, by the way, and so do I.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. I'm sure
What about you? Have you come across any, I guess, stupid Desi advice growing up or recently or anything?
the one that really sticks in my mind, and I still laugh when I think about it. I don't know, it's not advice as such, but I think it's more of a like a superstition or a belief type thing. My husband said to me one day that, don't worry, it's going to rain on our wedding day. And I'm thinking, how do you know it's going to rain on our wedding day? And why is it going to rain on our wedding day? I don't want rain on our wedding day. And he was like to me, no, no, no. My mum always said that basically because I ate burnt food, like I love having burnt toast and burnt, like, you know, like really charred stuff, that apparently they say it's going to rain when it's your wedding day. And you know what? It actually did rain on our wedding day. So who knows if that's
Seriously?
true or not? Yeah, I know. Who knows if that's true or not?
Well, was that a good thing? Was he saying that's a good thing that it's going to rain?
I have no idea whether it's supposed to be a blessing or not. I guess it's like how you look at it, isn't it? But I just
Yeah.
thought to myself, I just remember thinking to myself when he said that, I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, how on earth is there logic between burnt food and the weather?
It just doesn't make sense, does it? I think certain people, like anti-type people, just generally have a tendency to give advice even when it's not needed. They just seem to want to portray their wisdom, if that's what they think it is, on other people. Somehow it'll help. So, for example, when I had my C-section, and the person who's never had a C-section, who doesn't know anyone who's had a C-section, but has had children of her own, she started giving me advice on how to recover after a C-section, but she's not qualified in any way in terms of like her health. She's not a healthcare professional in any way. She has not had a C-section. She doesn't know anyone who's had a C-section, but because she's the kind of person who likes to give advice, she started giving me advice about having a C-section and, you know, the recovery process. Now, this obviously really wound me up because I'm thinking to myself, okay, I haven't had one either before, but at least I researched it. You're just giving random weird advice that I've never even heard of, right? Like
So
drink
what did she
this and
say to
drink
you?
that. I guess certain things I understood, like drinking milk with turmeric in it, apparently is supposed to help you. It's supposed to, that was something my mum said as well, and that helps you heal you from the inside. But I honestly can't remember exactly what the advice was. I just remember her giving advice on, you know, how soon it's okay to walk around after a C-section and to basically carry on doing your normal things and everything. But essentially what she was saying is, you've had the baby now you can get up and move and do whatever you want. I understand what she was saying in the sense that you have to start moving in order to get your body to heal, but you can't just pretend like as if there was nothing, that you haven't undergone major surgery and just
Yeah, of
expect to
course.
bounce back into your normal routine. It doesn't work like that. Then I almost felt guilty in the sense that I thought, oh, am I supposed to just bounce back? That's the term that they use, don't they? Bounce back after you've had a baby. But you can't, because you physically change. Even apparently your brain changes.
Of course.
So how can you just bounce back to the person that you were before when there's one or maybe two the people that are relying on you? But yeah, I think that was more of an annoying kind of advice.
Yeah, I think sometimes people think that they're being helpful and they don't realize that they're being completely unhelpful and they're making you feel horrible about it. And
Yeah.
like you say, everyone recovers differently, especially after such a major thing like giving birth. Do you know what I mean? Even if you're having a C-section, it's
Yes.
a massive operation. You're not going to recover that quickly, and you have to take your time, and you know your body better than anyone else. So how can somebody else tell you what you should and shouldn't do? The thing is, I don't mind people giving me advice, okay, but sometimes it's the way that people say it. They think that they're doing something nice for you, but actually the way they're coming across is not like that.
Yeah. Like, okay, I remembered another example. I'm sorry, this is all baby related because most of the stupid advice I received was after I had Xavier. So I was feeding Xavier with a bottle, and a family member said to me, cover the milk bottle. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? How can I cover the milk bottle and feed him at the same time? They were like making me hide the milk bottle. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, they were putting like a cloth over the milk bottle, but it was obviously covering Xavier's face as well. And I was like, you can't just cover his face. He needs to see,
Breathe.
otherwise he's going to get really agitated. Breathe, obviously, as well. And the point of it was to hide how much he was drinking, because if other people see how much he's drinking, then they might do nazar on him, as in they might cast an evil eye on how much milk he's drinking. And I was thinking, so when you eat at a restaurant or you eat in public, do you hide your plate and then eat? Or like, do you go into a corner and eat or something because you don't want people to look at how much you're eating, just in case, you know, they cast an evil eye and you're never able to eat that much food ever again?
Hang on a minute. Who in their right mind is going to judge how much milk the poor baby is drinking? I mean, they're growing. They've just been born. They need milk.
Exactly. That's the only thing he was having, milk.
Exactly.
And I was just in shock. I was trying to think, do I feed him too much? I know I don't. Like, it just makes you doubt what you're doing. And you just think, and then obviously you're a new mom. You're just thinking, okay, I'll just cover his milk bowl. And then I looked at it and I thought, what the hell am I doing? So I moved it to the side. Then she told me off to cover it again. And I was like, no, I can't. I can't feed him, hold him, keep him quiet, and put a cover on top of him as well. Like, I can't do all those things. I'm sorry. It's just stupid.
That's ridiculous. It is so
Yeah.
ridiculous. I haven't heard that one before, actually. That's
No,
quite
I
funny.
literally just remembered it. It was really bizarre.
I think as well, it comes down to the lack of boundaries that people have as well. Like, it's just so common in the South Asian community that there's just no boundaries whatsoever.
No.
People just feel like they say whatever the hell they want to you. It doesn't matter who they are. They're older than you, so well, they're right, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. If they're older than you, they can say whatever the hell you want. And if you talk back, or if you not talk back, but if you respond to what they're saying and maybe suggest that what they're saying isn't actually accurate, it's like, how dare you? You're very rude. You're buttermies. But actually, you're not. It's not healthy to shut people down all the time. It's like that article that you sent me the other day, shutting children down when they're trying to express their emotions, or shutting adolescents down when they're trying to speak up. It's not healthy.
Yeah, of course. It's just not. And the thing is, sometimes you can't even explain. It's the only way they know how as well. They don't realize that they're making you feel horrible when they say these things. And plus, okay, you in your case as well, you've just had a baby. Your hormones are all over the place. You're already feeling emotional. You, like you said, you're a new mom. You're already doubting every single thing that you do, and then people come up and they give you their little 2 cents about what they think you should and shouldn't be doing. Obviously that's gonna like throw you completely off. And how do they think that it makes you feel? They don't care. They think they're being helpful.
Yeah, they don't care. Well, have you heard the one where you shouldn't have milk when you've had fish?
I feel like I've heard that before, but
Yeah.
what do they say about that?
So if you've eaten fish, you shouldn't drink milk, because apparently there's a skin condition where the pigmentation of your skin is it changes, as in parts of your skin are lighter, parts are darker. Alopecia.
Like
I don't know.
vertigo?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
They say that you'll get that because you've had milk and fish together. But then the thing that I don't understand is when you go to McDonald's, you get a fillet fish meal and you get a milkshake. The milkshake has milk in it.
Oh my God.
Does that make sense, Pete?
Yeah, of course.
So I remember once, even Zanin said that to me, right? Once he was like, "Oh, Zed, you can't give Xavier milk yet because he's just had fish." And I was like, "So you can have your milkshake after you've had a fillet fish meal, but Xavier can't have milk."
I was just about to say, doesn't he always get a milkshake from McDonald's?
Yes, he always gets a milkshake from McDonald's. And then when he looked at me and he was like, "You said you're right. You're actually right." And then obviously he never said it to me again, but it's something he's grown up with. And until another person points it out to you that, hold on, a milkshake has milk in it.
That's so true. I bet, like, now I'm starting to think about what do I say to people that's really weird that I think is right, but maybe it isn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's sometimes I think certain advice is very helpful. Like when they give you the advice on using herbs, and I can't say that every single piece of advice has been rubbish, but I think sometimes you just have to listen to the advice, take what you need from it, and then just cast the rest away and not think about it too much. The problem that I have is when someone gives me advice, I think on it and think on it and think on it, and I think, was their advice right? It sounds stupid, but maybe they're right. Maybe I've been doing something wrong. And then it's all that self-doubt.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's really hard, and it took me a long time to kind of filter out people's advice and learn what I need to pick out of it and what I need to let go of. It's not easy, but it's really important that you figure that out. Obviously, if you're struggling with stupid advice from people or advice that you think is stupid, and like you said, everything isn't. For example, I know like some of the home remedies and things like that we got from generations and generations and generations, they are amazing. They still work. So certain things, yes, but I don't know for you what it was like for you, but what about when you got married? Was there anything that people kind of said or did that was kind of weird, or did you get any stupid advice when you were getting married?
So I think when I got married, because the circumstances were different, I didn't get as much advice. However, I have heard people say that, when you get married, you're supposed to dress up for your husband, and the lady should always dress up. She should look immaculate. She should have like really nice shalwar kameez on, and do her makeup and have her hair. So basically look like a trophy wife, right? And just in case, if you don't do that, your husband's then going to look away at other people. So to prevent him from cheating, you have to look extra nice. This is a conversation I was having with a friend of mine yesterday. They do say that. They actually say that. You don't want your husband to look outside. Yeah. You don't want him to look outside, so you have to look amazing all the time. Now, my philosophy is, if you look like a tramp most of the time, or if you look normal most of the time, then the day that you do dress up, your husband's going to be wowzed, right?
Literally. Exactly. Precisely.
Surely they should be staying with you because they like you. Not they like the way you look. Obviously, you have to be attracted to your partner. I'm not saying that. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not all about the way you look. I feel like as if in this society, we're so engrossed in showing a perfect image to everyone all the time that it's not about what you look like. It's about the way you interact with each other, the kindness you share, like the trust you have with each other. And if your partner, I'm not saying the husband, maybe the wife, whoever it is, if they're going to cheat regardless. It will not matter how you look. And that's the problem. True. Yeah, and that's the problem I've had with people whose partners have cheated. They then become really insecure about the way they look because they think, hold on, something was missing from me, that they had to go somewhere else. But I think people have to just sit back and think a minute. It wasn't something that was missing from me. It was something that was missing in them that they needed.
100%. That's so true, actually. Just going back to that point, like when we got married, the imam gave like a really good sermon, the nikah and everything. And he said in the sermon that the husband also has to make an effort. It's not just about the wife. It's not just about the wife looking good. But obviously you want to look good for your other half. You want to do that. But like you said, it's not all about the way that you look. And if someone's going to leave, if your relationship's going to break, if you're going to get divorced, if they're going to cheat on you, it's not about the way that you look. It's obviously something missing from them, not from you.
Yeah. And it's something that's gone wrong in the relationship. Not, oh, you didn't look good enough for your husband. Like, I think that's just such a stupid, sexist thing to say, that the woman has to always, look perfect. And the thing is, now I often hear, like, someone comes around, they'll be like, oh, so what have you cooked today? They'll say it to me. And if my husband's there, the question will never be directed at him. It'll always be, so what have you cooked today, Zed? And I remember I got that literally the other day when someone came around for iftar, and they were like, oh, I can't smell anything. What did you cook today? And my husband's sitting there, and obviously I've been working all day. He's been looking after the kids all day. And I was like, I didn't cook because I'm working. You can't expect someone to be cooking all day and working all day and looking after the kids all day and cleaning the house all day. You can't have four jobs and juggle everything. And they were like taken aback because obviously from their household, they're used to their mum or their sister or whoever it is cooking all the time. And that's what they do. They cook and the house smells of food because obviously they're cooking, they're spending a lot of time making the food for iftar. In my own house, when I was younger, my mum used to do that. My sister-in-laws used to do that. I used to help out. When I finished work, I used to help out too. But things have changed now. It's not the same as it used to be. With the role of the man and the woman have changed so fundamentally in different ways. I think our society needs to understand that, and they just don't. They can't get past the fact that it doesn't have to be the woman that has to cook. Like, if you look at the top chefs of the world, they're not usually female. They're usually men.
That's so true. And people don't understand that. And it's just crazy. In our house, for example, we share it. Sometimes my husband cooks and sometimes I do, depending on what we're eating on the day, because both of us work. Like you say, we both have full-time jobs. We're working all day. You're so tired by the time it comes to the evening. Who actually has the energy then to go and cook like a full-on meal? Like, we have to think about it. We have to plan. We have to think about that in advance. Yeah, you're right. The roles have fundamentally changed. There's so many things that are so different now. And also, it comes down to your relationship with your husband, that you want to support each other. Your husband's going to do stuff for you because he doesn't want you to be upset. He doesn't want you to be tired. He wants to support you. People just need to understand that it's very different.
Yeah, that's usually like, it's not advice as much, but it's more, I guess it's more the judginess where that comes in when you're obviously like, at the moment it's Ramzan, everyone's cooking all these lovely dinners and everything, and sometimes I feel really guilty that I haven't made 50,000 starters, like not 50,000, but I haven't made like 10 starters and, two mains and, three desserts. There's only me and my husband who are fasting. So you don't need to make all that food, because I found that even in previous Ramzans, when we've done that, when we've tried to do that, make lots of dishes, it's gone to waste.
Yeah.
And in Ramzan, you're supposed to not waste food.
Yes.
Like you're supposed to actually open your fast. Okay, sorry, I'm going into an Islamic rant. Yeah, you're not supposed to really waste food. I think that's really wrong when you make so much food and it's extravagant. And yes, it's nice. Yes, it's nice to eat. On occasion, it's nice to eat, but not every day. I don't think so. And I don't have time for it.
Yeah, forget about Ramadan, just generally when we waste food, like it just winds me up so much. People don't actually realize how much food they actually waste. I think people will be shocked if you put a number to that and they actually realize how much of food they actually waste. And like you said, there's two people. How are you going to eat that? And actually, after you break your fast, you can barely eat anyway.
Yeah,
it's not logical at all.
No, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense.
I think as well, sometimes people feel like if they don't cook, especially during like Ramadan and stuff, or just generally, really, if they don't cook for their family, then it's going to look bad on them. Sometimes people do it for the sake of other people.
Yeah, that really makes sense, because when I grew up, and still now to this day, I always hear, what are people going to think? That's the standard phrase. God. It's literally the standard phrase in my house, especially from very close family members. It's usually, but Zed, what are people going to think? If you do this, what are people going to think? Who cares? Like what people think? I don't understand. Yeah, who are people? And people are going to think whatever the hell they want. You can't control someone else's mind. And does that mean you have to spend your entire life pleasing someone who might not even still be pleased by what you do? It just doesn't make sense. Like, dress a certain way because what are people going to think? They're going to think, you're not a very good person if you dress in a certain way. Why would someone think that?
Or and how can someone from the outside possibly know whether you're a good person or not by the way that you dress? They know nothing about you. They're basically just judging you on your appearance. That's what it's coming down to again. They're judging you on your appearance. Yes. They don't know whether you're a good person or not. They don't know what you do on a day-to-day basis. Who are they to say that you're not a good person?
Yeah. And I think especially like with my mom, for example, she's the kind of person who gives and gives and gives and gives. And because she does it, she expects her children to be like that as well. And just give and give and give and burn yourself out basically for other people. If someone asks you to do something for them, don't ever say no. You never say no. You always say yes. No matter how much it costs you and costs your mental health or your physical health or whatever, you still go ahead and do it. And even if it makes you unhappy, you still do it. That is not healthy in any way. And it's so hard to break out of that, because I still to this day find myself in certain situations where I say yes to certain things, or I laugh things off, or I smile about something when I'm not happy with what that person said, or I'm not happy with the conversation. But I'm so, I guess, scared or anxious about contradicting them or upsetting them in any way that I will continue the conversation, or not continue the conversation, but let the conversation be, because I am too scared to say that I don't agree with what you're saying, or let's not talk about this because it's not a nice thing to talk about.
Yeah. My husband is a lot like that. And I think again it comes down to the way that he grew up. I think in our household it was a bit different because my mum went through that. And she had to do everything that everyone said. Obviously, when she brought us up so differently. And she was like, well, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that because someone's telling you have to do it. So I think for us, it was very different. And you know what? I actually really praise my mum for having the courage to actually do that, to break the cycle, bring her kids up differently, because again, she knows how it feels.
Yeah.
And she didn't want that life for us. She didn't want us to grow up feeling like that and thinking that that's okay, because it's not okay to kind of do things you don't want to do just because you're worried about what someone else is going to think or what someone else is going to say, or you feel pressured to do it.
I think too many times I've done that. And I think slowly I'm breaking out of the cycle. But I see it, and then I think, oh, I would never want Xavier or Zara to think like that. I would never want them to think they have to do something just to make someone happy. So, for example, it's just a simple thing like when I was younger, if someone gave me a hug, I would have to let them give me a hug and give a hug back. If someone said, "Oh, come give me a hug," I would have to give them a hug, even if I didn't want to give that person a hug.
Yeah.
Because you have to. I don't know what it is. I don't know why people make you do that.
I think they think it's a respectful thing, because for us it was the same thing. We had to do the same thing, and people would like they would literally pull your cheek.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And they would literally like kiss you on the cheek. I absolutely hated it. I wanted to die at that moment, let me tell you, but we still had to do it. It was, again, a respect thing. And then obviously I think my mum started to realize as we got older, and again I think it was also when we moved out of the whole extended family thing that changed for her. Like, I think that it gave her a lot more courage to kind of like do things the way she wanted to do it, and not because other people were telling her what to do, in that sense. So I think it changed from then. So yeah, I think they think it's respectful to your elders if you do things like that.
Yeah, like for example with Xavier, if someone wants to give Xavier a hug and give him a kiss and everything, Xavier doesn't want to. Xavier's, you know what Xavier's like. Xavier's very strong-minded. And if he doesn't want to give you a hug, he will not give you a hug. So I'll say to Xavier, it's okay. If you don't want to give a hug, that's fine. You can give a high five so the other person doesn't get offended. But at the same time, Xavier doesn't feel uncomfortable either. And then Xavier loves giving high fives, so he'll give a high five. But even if he didn't want to give a high five, it's up to him. If he doesn't want to hug you, he doesn't feel comfortable, you shouldn't pressurize, because then that pressure, it creates further issues later on. You feel like as if you should oblige. If someone wants to do something to you, you should oblige because you're doing it out of respect. And that's not right. That's where issues come out. Yeah,
definitely. I think I read an article a while ago actually about that, and the way sort of women grow up to behave, and later on in their life they get into like relationships with men that sometimes might be abusive, or it might be a toxic relationship generally, and they just get stuck in the cycle, and they stay in the cycle because they think it's okay to be treated that way, because all your life you've been told what you can and can't do.
That's really sad. That's really, really sad. But it does happen. It still happens. I've seen it. It happens to me all the time. I'm trying to break out of it. I'm trying not to do that. But then it comes to the whole, the problem with speaking up for yourself and saying that you don't want to do a certain thing or you don't agree with that. If people don't know your parents, they automatically link it back to them. They say, oh, she's rude because that was her upbringing, or her mum must have taught her that. And you just don't want to portray even though your behavior shouldn't reflect your parenting, but it does somehow. It comes across as that. And it's like a lose-lose situation, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
But I guess you just have to not care what people think.
Yeah, it's quite a difficult situation, because it comes down to not caring, but then at the back of your mind it's very hard to break out of that cycle, because people are judging me. You don't want to, nobody wants to be judged at all, but what people are like. And so to break out of that cycle, it's very hard, and it's about training your mind, and that is not easy. But like you said, you're trying and you're doing it where you can. That's a start. And eventually, the more you're able to train your mind, the easier it will be.
And again, it comes back to what you mentioned earlier about boundaries. I think slowly when you do start speaking up a little bit and you set your boundaries, other people will hopefully back off a little bit. Some people won't. Some people just are too thick-skinned. They will never understand someone else's boundaries, but hopefully some people will.
Yeah, I think as well, it's just they don't understand, they don't connect the dots. They just do what they do. Like you said, the example you gave about the fish in the milkshake, you just do what you do and you don't think about it. There's no thought process behind it. You're doing it because you've done it for such a long time. People have told you this is the way you do it, so this is the way you do it for the rest of your life, until you have that epiphany moment and you're thinking, what the hell am I doing?
There was another one actually about food. Almonds make you really smart.
Is it?
Yeah, my mum used to give me 7 almonds every single day to make me smart. Yeah, I'm not joking. I saw it.
Well, you turned out really smart, so maybe that worked.
Yeah, well, someone said to me the other day, I was given almonds as well when I was growing up, and I didn't turn out very smart. Yeah.
50-50 then, hey?
Now, I know I'm obviously nuts are good for you anyway, but it's such a specific number as well, isn't it? 7 almonds you have to have every day, not one more, not one less.
It's hilarious. But I'm sure there's so many things that must have said to somebody. It'd be interesting to know from our listeners, like what kind of advice they got that they thought was really stupid or out of the ordinary, and they thought like you were left in that sort of what the kind of moment.
Yeah. And have they ever acted upon that advice to see if it worked? That would be brilliant to know.
Obviously, have you ever done something that someone said?
Yeah.
Like actually you thought, what the heck are you talking about? But actually it worked?
Not that well, I don't know if it worked or not. So there's a lot of advice that that I was given in relation to keeping the evil eye away. So basically not getting any bad luck. I was given loads of advice, and some was given by my late father-in-law. So I used to keep that advice because I was just so scared that what if he's right, and what if I don't do that thing that he's asked me to do, and then I'm just going to curse with bad luck for the rest of my life. So I just carried on doing whatever he used to say to me just in case. I didn't want any bad luck.
It's so true how you do things. There's certain traditions that you do, and you do it because you don't want to bring upon bad omens to yourself.
So that brings us to the end of this episode of Not Your Typical Sister. We really would like to hear about the stupid advice that you've ever received or you've heard someone else being receipt of.
Feel free to leave us comments on whichever podcast streaming service you're listening to. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to this episode of Not Your Typical Sister.
We would love to hear your thoughts and comments. You can leave us comments and reviews on whichever streaming service you are listening through.
Don't forget to join our tribe on Instagram and Facebook at Not Your Typical Sister.
Speak to you next time.